Hey everyone, it's Jeannie here, and today I am so glad to be joined by award-winning singer Matthew West. He is the host of the 2021 Kayla Fan Awards, and he just does so many amazing things for the kingdom. Matthew, thank you so much for
Wow.
chatting with me.
That's very kind of you. Thank you. It's good to see you today. Good to talk with you.
Yes, it's always a pleasure. I think about how fun you are, and last year was just so crazy, and how even in the midst of crazy, you were releasing music and doing things to kind of help lift our spirit. So here we are, 2021. The Kayla Fan Awards was canceled last year, and we're back. Talk about that, just the anticipation of gathering together again. Like, it's going to be one crazy reunion.
Yeah, I love what you just said. We're back. It definitely feels like as a country, we're all sort of feeling that, to some extent, and hopefully even more so in the weeks and months to come. But, that chance to gather together with people after such a long time being told that we couldn't do it, it's really hard to describe that how special that feeling is. And so it's really with great anticipation that we prepare for the Kayla Fan Awards. And I've always loved hosting the award show, but I just have a feeling that this is going to be the most special show that we've done. And it's just I think people are ready. They're ready to be together. They're ready to worship the Lord together. And so to be a part of that, and for me as the host, I kind of get a front row seat to that experience. Yeah. So, but all around, I think all the artists, community, our whole community of artists are excited to get back on the road, excited to play music, and it's just excitement and anticipation for this season ahead.
For sure. My pastor, William McDowell, you might know him, famous gospel singer there. But he's been talking about koinonia and the fellowship, which is the word for fellowship. And I just, as you're talking, I'm just thinking about how everyone gathered together feeling like they were kept apart, for so long. Just the emotion that's going to come with that. What are you most looking forward to? Is there like a moment or performance, something that you're going to do that you're most looking forward to?
Well, the Kayla Fan Awards are unique in that people come from all around the country to Nashville. And so obviously last year that was unable to happen. And so I think they're excited to travel again. They're excited. I mean, there's some Nashville people that come to the show, but it's primarily like people from all around the country who descend upon Nashville, kind of like country music has their CMA festival weekend, same kind of thing. And this is that for Christian music fans. And so I think just the all around excitement for people is a really special thing. The excitement to travel, stay in a hotel, to feel normal. But I would have to say, just like, as artists, we love to connect with the audience. And when we only get to do that through the radio or through social media, it just feels like, there's just more of a disconnect than we're used to. There's no substitute for that experience of being in front of a live audience and everybody lifting their voices together. And so I would just say in general, just there's not one specific performance that I'm going, oh, I can't wait to. Every single performance, I can't wait, because I feel like every performance is just going to be that much more special, because I think the crowd's just going to be ready. And I know the artists are ready. And there's, when both the stage and the audience come into that room with great anticipation, I mean, it's going to be like fireworks.
Right. I'm looking forward to your comedy. You're hilarious. You're always keeping us entertained. I saw some stuff on Instagram today with you, Jeremy, and Bart Millard.
Yes.
You guys are hilarious. So I'm excited for that. I know you always have that going on. Talk about 2020 and just how that was for you. I know you released your song Quarantine Life, but how was it for you?
Yeah, I mean, 2020 was really hard for everybody. I think on a personal level, like, it was a weird mix of, it was like I had these career highlights in the midst of really hard times. And So none of it, it just all felt kind of surreal. Like it was just weird. Like I had two number one songs in the middle of a pandemic, and it was just like, it didn't matter one bit. You know what I mean? And I think that
Wow.
in a sense, and I'm not saying it didn't matter in terms of like, I hope the songs impacted people's lives, but
Yeah,
when you're
I get
going
it.
through, when a nation and a country and a world is going through something, the trial, like, the likes of which we'd never seen before, it puts life into perspective, and so I think it's been that kind of year for me, just sort of getting a grip on like, okay, how do I stay encouraged and I was more concerned about leading my family than I was about singing to the masses. And
Mhm.
I think if I had to boil it down to one sentence, that's what 2020 felt like for me, was like, Lord, just, help me be a good leader for my family through this crisis. Help me be a good leader for my team, and help me remember that I can't make it through this life without you. I certainly can't make it through a pandemic without you. And so,
Yeah.
so yeah. And then out of that, even out of those tough times, it's just been really cool to see how the Lord still used me uh, in ways that I never would have expected. I launched a new podcast, and we're
Yes.
coming up on 1 million downloads of that podcast in less than a year. And it's just like, that
Amazing.
never would have happened if I had stayed on the road that entire year. And so it's just cool to see, like, nothing surprises God. I don't know why, like, we always, when we're caught off guard, I feel like we act as if God's caught off guard too. And he's not
Right.
surprised. He's in control. He's on the throne. And I'm thankful that he's answered my prayers this past year and helped me to lead my family. And
Mm,
that's been my prayer all along.
that's beautiful. Do you think that's the lesson we were all meant to get from this last year?
Well, I would say, however it relates to each individual, I would hope that this past year has maybe brought us all home in a sense, like, and I mean, obviously it brought us home physically and kept us home physically,
Yeah.
but I love the thought of how this past year has brought us home spiritually, hopefully, and for us to come back to the reminder, there's that old song, coming back to the heart of worship, right? Or another
Yeah.
pop song, been trying to get back to the heart of the matter. And I feel like this year could be that, like a return to home, in that, those simple but profoundly life-changing reminders that I am not in control, but I know who is. I can make it through anything. I have learned the secret of being content, whether well-fed or hungry, whether living in plenty or in want. That's the
Mm,
scripture leading up to Philippians 4:13, says, I can do all things through
right.
Christ who gives me strength. And to me, that's been a real homecoming to the truth that God offers us as hope in difficult times.
That's awesome. Can you share anything like from the show that we can expect, or a little sizzle
From the
for us?
Caleb Fan Awards.
Yeah.
Well, I am working on a song for the opening monologue. So
Nice.
and it's going to be a little bit of a, like, hopefully a little funny recap of the year that was. And
Yeah.
so I like to make up funny songs, so I'm going to bust something out like that. But really,
Mm,
the night's actually going to be more dominated by performances than ever before. Like, there's tons of performances, and we really wanted it to be less about, you know, me doing comedy and more about, like, just showering the people with music. So it's
mhm.
going to be special. There's going to be some great performances. It's going to be a mix of artists debuting new songs and artists playing, like, the big hit song that they had this past year. So it should
That's
be really, really
awesome.
cool.
That's amazing. And I saw Jeremy Camp live in Orlando at SeaWorld, and I think it was probably one of his first live performances. And it's amazing to see when performers haven't performed in so long, and just, I feel like all that pent up energy and just, the way the Lord moved was just so beautiful. So I can't even wait. I know it's going to be powerful.
Yeah, it's going to be great. We just I agree with, I probably feel the same way Jeremy does. I think all the artists are ready, man. We're ready to get out there and worship with the people.
Beautiful. How should people approach going back into this or going back out into everyday life, now that things have eased up? What do you think? How should we approach that? you know,
Me from a health standpoint or
I mean,
just in general?
anything in general.
Gosh, I mean, that's a tough question. I think everybody's got their own different comfort levels. And, it's a crazy thing because we've all been through the same thing. And yet we all look at it from different perspectives. And so,
Yeah.
I mean, vaccinations and all what should I do? Should I get, man, there's a lot of questions. And I'll be honest, I got a lot of questions myself. Like, as a parent too, it's like, man,
Right.
how do we do this? And so I think I've been really clinging to just that reminder that I can walk by faith. And if to steal a Jeremy Camp song lyric, and just to be faith driven and not fear driven. And like, those
That's
are the
good.
kind of cliches that we talk about as Christians a lot of times, but they're cliches for a reason. That's because they're true. You know what I mean? And that God offers us that opportunity to like put our trust in him. It does feel a little bit like every day, like when you're getting out of your house, like you're getting little by little feeling to normal. But I remember in the beginning when we were first like leaving our houses, it felt like a little bit like maybe how Peter felt when he stepped out of the boat onto the water. Like, is this safe?
Right.
Can I do this? And so, we're just kind of not going to let fear take over our lives, and we're going to live, and we're going to, hopefully be healthy and just know that the Lord is going to take care of us.
Amen. I love that. What can we expect from you in this season? Now you're going to be back out
Yeah.
here.
Yeah. I'm going to be playing some concerts. The band and I are getting our set back up and going, which is really exciting. And I'm working on a new book, and my podcast is called the Matthew S. Podcast, and it comes out every Wednesday. And so I've got some great new interviews coming up in the month of June. I'm interviewing one of the members of the pop group Destiny's Child, who's a Christian and
Nice.
talks about her battle with depression. And I'm interviewing Christine Kane and Michael W. Smith and some really great people that I love being on the other side of the microphone. I love doing interviews like this, but when I do my own podcast, I get to ask the questions, which is fun.
Right.
So, but a lot of exciting things. I'm gonna make a Christmas album this year. So lots of good
Yay.
stuff. And it's just, I'm feeling creative and I'm loving writing songs, and I get to write a lot of songs for other artists too. And so some of those songs are hitting the radio right now, which is fun. So, yeah, it's just an exciting time.
That's awesome. Last thing, I know you just recently did a benefit concert for Mental Health Awareness Month, which is what we're in. Can you speak to anyone that might not be looking at this season as hopeful as maybe you are? They're probably crippled with fear or anxiety or some kind of depression. I think it's important to encourage each other. I'd love to hear from you.
That's a great question. I have had a song out this past year called Truth Be Told, and it talks about the importance of honesty and authenticity and how hard that is to find in our world, and sometimes how hard it is to find in ourselves. And
Yeah.
I know just from first person, my own personal journey and experience, that there's this tendency to pretend that you're fine, even if you know deep down that you're not fine. And that's why I
Oh,
wrote
yeah.
that song. That's my own story, because I always feel pressure to like do interviews like this and feel like, hey, everybody, I'm great. I'm good. Look how put together I am. And,
Yeah.
I think this year has leveled us in hopefully in a way that we can find community. And for somebody out there who's struggling, maybe feeling really hopeless or battling with depression or wondering if they maybe have some mental health issues, man, I think months like these where we raise awareness to that are important, because we have to get rid of the stigma and the shame surrounded by what many of us are dealing with in our lives on any given day, and certainly through a pandemic. Do you know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
And
Yeah.
so I think that's why this is important. I think that's why a song like Truth Be Told really resonated this past year on the radio. It was like, oh, it's kind of interesting. Like, so that song got a lot of people like listening to that and want it on the radio. And you just think, man, there's a lot of people who are fighting a hidden battle.
Mhm.
And what a shame it is if they've been made to feel like that battle needs to stay hidden. Because as long
Mhm.
as our battles are hidden, we're kind of fighting them ourselves. And we were
Yeah.
never meant to fight those battles on our own. We need God's
Mhm.
help, first of all, and we need help from a community of people who are going to support us and not judge us.
Yeah, that's beautiful. Is there anything else you'd like to add?
No, I just want to say thanks for having me, and it's great to
Of course.
talk to you. We're excited for the Kayla Fan Awards. I know not everybody can come to the airing in Nashville to the live performance, but it will be airing, I think, on June 4th
Yes.
in on
On
TBN.
TBN.
So it should be a really special night, and it's just great to get back together with people, and we look forward to seeing you again soon.
Exciting. All right, Matthew, thank you so much.